So if you have been around the sales and marketing automation space for any amount of time, or you've been in small business even for any amount of time, you have undoubtedly heard or even said some version of the phrase lead nurture, or just prospect nurture, or customer nurture, or nurture in general. It has become kind of a buzzword, but that doesn't mean that it isn't valuable, because it most certainly is. And part of why I feel so strongly about the concept of nurture is because it is all about doing more with what you already have. And this is, I believe, the single most impactful thing that any small business on the planet can do to affect their bottom line without spending an additional cent. So at a high level, nurture it's follow-up. It is about staying in touch with and building a relationship with your prospects, with your leads, with your customers. And the reason I include customers there is because nurture is not limited to the pre-purchase portion of your customer journey. I believe nurture is something that can happen at every stage of your customer's experience, because it's all about guiding them towards whatever the next milestone is. You're designing it for the people who need the most time, who need the most hand-holding. And you're designing it for the folks who just not necessarily need more convincing, but maybe aren't ready. And the role of nurture is to help address their concerns proactively. And the reason I mentioned your post-customer journey is because nurture can serve to create repeat buyers, or to take your existing customers and turn them into subscribing members, or to take your members and to turn them into partners, or to take your partners and to support them in an ongoing capacity. And if you're new to the concept of nurture, probably the most applicable part of your business where it would fit is following up with leads who have not yet become customers. You probably capture leads in some capacity, but at a certain point, that initial experience concludes. And if they haven't yet reached the next milestone, then a gap is created. And the role of nurture is to bridge that gap, is to follow up with people who need more time, who have questions, for whom you want to continue to cultivate a relationship with. Before I add somebody to my nurture process, I say, like, we get to be pen pals, but I'll do all the work. And that means I'll show up regularly with, content that I think you'll find valuable. And it's not, are you ready to buy yet? Are you ready to buy yet? Are you ready to buy yet? When you craft your nurture journey, it should genuinely be a service to them. If you invert that equation and you are the one being nurtured, think about how that would feel to you if they just show up and ask for your credit card over and over, right? That's not nurturing, that's just pestering. And so the idea of nurture is to ask yourself, what will serve this person and how can I lead them toward that next milestone? And then to create an automated process that does it over and over. And this doesn't have to be an overwhelming amount of content to produce. Then go ahead and write this down of content that already exists, right? This could be blog posts, it could be YouTube videos, it could be podcasts, it could be webinars you've done, it could be any number of types of content that you have probably already created. And so narrow down that list to a number of resources that you feel proud of, that you feel naturally would be of interest to your ideal customers or to the people that you serve. And then organize them into an email sequence. And it could be an email every week, right? If you have a lot of content, maybe you're showing up at a regular cadence. But it could also be once a month, right? It doesn't have to be every single day that you're in their inbox. It also doesn't have to be just email. You could use multiple mediums, SMS or Facebook ads or direct mail pieces. Nurture is about building that relationship. It's not confined to the inbox. There's different approaches to this, but the point that I'm trying to make is that I want you to think of your nurture process, of your nurture conversation, as more than just asking for the sale. Think of it as genuinely auditioning, as proving yourself, as building the trust that they need in order to ultimately make a decision. And the decision might be no, which is okay as well. Nurture's job is to support the customers or prospects in whatever stage of the journey they're in, guiding them towards whatever the next milestone might be. I also want to give you permission and encourage you to develop a proactive lens in terms of seeking out new nurture content. Keep your eyes peeled for people who are a good fit, for people who like embody your ideal customer avatar. And when you can, you want to harvest testimonials. You want to capture feedback from them, because it creates material that you can then use not only in your marketing, but also in your nurture and in your follow-up. Sales and marketing automation is a powerful tool, and one of the many, many functions it can serve for a business is automatically nurturing your leads. And so, yes, I'm talking about actual leads, but I'm also talking about, the gaps that exist elsewhere in their customer journey. And I wanted to give you some tools and some ideas for how you might think about crafting that nurture process. My rules would be, make it valuable. That's rule number one, is like, ask yourself, is this genuinely making their life better? The number one concern that I think small business owners have when it comes to nurture is they don't want to feel like they're annoying that prospect. But if every time you show up, you're making their life better, you're giving them something of value, then they won't grow tired of that, then they won't feel like they're being pestered. And rule number two would be to mix in not only call to actions, but examples of your product, your service in action, to proactively dissuade or diffuse the concerns that they might have or the objections that they might have, to use your nurture process to actually produce the customers for whom you are the best fit. Number three, the next rule that I would give you is take the time to measure the average buying cycle your customers have, or the average amount of time that anyone spends between whatever those two milestones are, and make sure that your nurture is at least 1.5 times that. So if it normally takes someone 3 months to go from from signing up for your free trial to buying the entire course, make sure your nurture is 4.5 or 5 months long, right? So that the people who need the most time, there is something planned for them. If you have nurture suggestions or tips of your own, we would love to hear them. Feel free to drop them in the comments below. Take care.